So we're gonna do some scaffold stuff. I'll start from basic. We'll start in like a side control and we'll get to scaffold, and then we'll start doing some nasty stuff where we'll actually go through and we'll start to put some pressure down on Daniel. Okay. Scaffold, we don't kind of end up in there usually. The kind of danger with scaffold is if I have a looseness to it, I get my back tuck. Okay, so I don't want my back tuck. The only kind of real way that we end up in scaffold straight away is if I throw Daniel there. You know, we're here and I kind of step in and I throw him all the way to the ground. And I end up straight away in a scaffold. Kind of see that a little bit more, I think, in judo rather than no-gi wrestling. So let's come back. So we all know how to get to a side control. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of this arm and then take a scaffold. Okay. Now there's a few ways that we can do this. If we just turn your head the other way. So he's probably going to have a frame or something here. I've probably got my underhook and head control, or even if I don't have the head control, that's okay too. I'm going to pick up his elbow and explosively slide through. Okay. Now the cool thing with scaffold is I actually want to be kind of high, right? When I play broken scaffold, I kind of like to play a lot down here, more by hip to hip. But with actual keizagatame, I want to be up by his head. So as I switch through, my hips are going to collect his elbow and raise it up off the ground. Look. Okay. I don't need to hold this. Try and pull your arm down. You can't do it because my leg's in the way, right? And that's what I want. Because later on, I'm going to start manipulating his arm, or I'm going to start manipulating his arm, and I want my thigh to be doing the job of keeping him from bringing his arm back down. Okay? So, number one is to pick up the elbow and then explosively switch through to scaffold. Look. And do you see how I'm not putting my bum on the ground? Okay, I want to be on him. And then from here, we can then start to swim through. So what I do from here is I like to pick up his arm, and then if he holds on to my arm, that's cool. I'm going to do something different. But if he's still framing me, I then swim through and pick up his head. Okay? Nice one is to just hold inside your thigh here, right? And all the while, I'm going to let Daniel away.
Thanks.
But all the while, I really want to be here with everything off the ground except the outside of my foot here and the sole of my foot here. Because if I rest like this, Daniel feels no pressure, okay? I want him to feel some pressure. So, hug, lift my elbow off the ground too, okay? Now Daniel's not going to tap to that in real life, okay? When we get to the compression later, we're going to add a lot more power into this, okay? So, number one is simply switching the leg through. Now, if he's kind of tight, it can be a little bit difficult to get a little bit of a pop up here to allow me to get under in the first place. So one of the things that I like to do from here is to start to drive some pressure up and use the inside of my left knee, okay? And then I open up his leg, open up his arm. So I connect the outside of my knee right to his elbow. And if I can't find it, I use the other one, okay? So by tripoding up a little bit and putting some pressure, I can either use the outside of this knee to find his elbow right here, or I can use the inside of this knee to find his elbow. And it's real difficult to resist, okay? So if his elbow is somewhere down here, I start to put some pressure on, I find it, and he tries to resist. That walk is very difficult. And then I start to get under it. And then from here, we can go up nice and high, okay? He starts to frame my face, I just swim through. All right, so let's just look from the other side. So from here, up, okay, I can't find it with my left, but I can with my right. That's cool. I can swim inside here. I can start to pick his head up already and swim through. And you know, we can really make this nasty for Daniel. There's a few different things that we can do. So either we just switch through, or we use either knee to collect his arm. So let's get into the position and we'll see where we go from there, guys. Okay, let's do it. Good. Okay, so a couple little things just to address. So a lot of the time when I teach side control, and this is my mistake, because I'm talking to you guys, I have my head up. Don't have your head up, right? I don't want to be here. Okay, I'm talking to you guys so you can see my face and everything. But he's gonna frame me. He's gonna make life a little bit annoying. I actually want to be like more like there, yeah. And it's not so nice for Daniel, especially when I lift my bum off the mat. Okay. What we're actually gonna do next is we're gonna push through, and my head has to come up to create a little bit of space. But to hold, I really want to be down here. I can still hold here, but he has a push. Okay, here, bring that frame in. Yeah, he has this potential frame, and then the legs come, and that's the beginning of all our Keisagatami escapes. So obviously I don't want this. So, a couple other things. One of the guys, he kind of hit his elbow over here, and he kind of turned a little bit. There's no more Keisa. It's just what it is, you know. I can't fish this out. Yeah, but also he's not defending his neck. So I'm just going to switch to something else. Remember, in jiu-jitsu, if they close one door on you, at the same time they close that one, they open another one. So maybe I go knee on belly. Maybe because he's turned, I start to seatbelt control the back or something. So maybe I do something else. Okay. The other thing is, once we go through, so once I go through, look, let's say I can't go all the way, he starts resisting. Now, it's not a problem. I just pick up from here. And once my knee is under, my hip is under, the hip will do the rest of the job, okay? So don't feel like you have to use your knee to get him all the way over here before you switch under. As long as I can get my hip under his elbow, it's done. And then I can block him and throw my hips up even higher, okay? Then the other thing, once we get under and he starts to push, look, what I want to do is take this away. But I don't want to go straight here, because if he starts to bump and things are kind of loose, I'm going to lose the position. Okay, just turn a little bit. So as I get to here and he starts to frame, look, push, but I keep the control. And what I like to do sometimes is pick up his head first, and then we go through. All right, it's chaining our controls, the monkey bar principle. We hold one monkey bar, then we hold the next before we let go of the first. Okay, so I want to keep control at all times of him. So to go through to the chest compression, what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to push my hips to expose this. All right, because I can't dig under here most of the time. All right, if he's tight, I'm not going to be able to dig under. But if I hip up, it's going to give me this space, look, to come through and to connect my arms, all right? And I don't mind if you go palm down or palm up, yeah, it's up to you. It's all gonna work. And then from here, everything off the ground. And what I'm gonna do is fold his chest up like he's toothpaste. And I'm trying to squeeze Daniel out through his legs. Okay? That makes sense. So from here, I'm gonna pick everything up and I'm gonna roll up. I've left my bum on the ground just so Daniel doesn't tap straight away, okay? But if I lift my bum, look, everything's gonna come straight, yeah? And I'm driving my ribs down into his chest, okay?
It's actually folding the chest.
Yes.
It's like, it's not supposed to fold.
That's right. What I wanna do, it's not supposed to fold. But what I wanna do is I wanna create a pivot point with my ribs here, and then bring everything north of that up to it. Yeah, it's real nasty. Robert, can I borrow you? I don't know, Robert looks tough. He has more chest. He's got more chest. So once I get into my Keisagatami position, just spin, that's it. There you go. So once I get here, hips go forward. It creates this gap, look, for me to come underneath. If I can get underneath his shoulder, fantastic. And then it's the toothpaste. And he's tough, look. I'm just gonna settle into this position. Yeah? It's not a fast burner. It's not like, bam, something's gonna break. It's in, okay? I'm here. He tries to move around, he tries to roll me. That's where my feet go, okay? So as he freaks out, like, do some bridges, go. Push on my face. I just settle in for the ride. Thanks, Rob. Okay, settle in for the ride. Once we get that position, should be very, very controlling. The only thing I have to be aware of, like any side control is I don't do this. Look, how I'm going. Okay? So I'm over here, he tries to roll me. Okay, he tries to roll me. Not gonna go. And it's the same when I go here. People start doing this. Oh, I've sweat myself. Now he's getting payback. Oh no. Okay, that makes sense? Yeah, so we can't do that. We have to keep our balance to the side that we have the Kaiser on. Okay, guys? So now we get into the position. Yes. Is this allowed in IBJJF? Yes. Yeah, you should never get called for this. One that I do later, maybe, maybe not. But this, once I go in, this is not a neck crank. This is a chest compression. Now, whether the IBJJF referee recognizes that, I can't guarantee for you. Okay? But I'm not just pulling on his head. Because his arm is inside, that should never be called as a neck crank. Okay? One we're gonna do maybe later, where I trap and I have my Kaiser, and now I lever on his head. That's shakier ground because I'm actually pulling on his head at the same time that I do my arm lock. So this one should be fine. Okay, guys?
Blue belt?
Blue belt?
Yeah, I think a white belt can chest compression submission for me.
I know juveniles can't do chest compressions. I think adult white belts can. But I check the IBJJF rules. See what it says. Okay? Give it a go, guys. Thanks, Daniel. So let's just troubleshoot a little bit. So, once we get through into our Kaiser position, some of you are having this problem, that your hips are real far away from them, and that then you go, well, for a start, some people are not understanding what's going on with the hips here. Just try and hug me a little bit, but without connecting hands. Just try and stay close. If I just raise my hips up like this, I don't make any space. What I want to do is I want to push the hips through over his head, look. You see how there's now some space for me to come under his arm. And now we're good. Now, the problem some people are having is, at this point, you've slipped off so much that only your armpit is on his chest and your arm is there, all right? So try and pick up, but there's no real weight on it. Yeah, even me, I'm pretty heavy, all right? So what little weight is left, you know, it might still be enough, but he's not insta-tapping like he was before, okay? That makes sense. So if I feel like I've kind of gone away from it a little bit, all right, here, I just adjust. And what I'm looking for is I'm kind of looking for that floating rib here, and I want that in him, okay? So I'm kind of here. So now when I lift, look, it's good, okay? And some of you guys are pretty tough, and you're not tapping straight away to this, it's fine. You just settle in, okay? Where was the guy who didn't tap to this straight away?
Oh, dear.
Yeah, you're not tapping straight away?
No.
Yeah, he's not tapping.
He's not tapping.
Maybe I'm too light
Now,
for him.
obviously, it's much better when you're 100 kilos or close to 100 kilos like I am. But some of you are like, he's not tapping and I held him for 3 seconds. Of course. Now, have you trained today? You sparred?
A little bit.
When? How long?
30 minutes.
30 minutes ago. He's recovered. He's not breathing hard. He's dry. Look, you know. If this is the end of a 10-minute fight, he's going to tap a lot easier. Okay, so just settle in. So when we get into these positions, look, just settle in. It's uncomfortable, right? Yeah. And I can hold this a lot longer than he can hold it. Yeah, okay, tap. So just settle in for the long haul. If you're doing everything right, just believe in your position, okay? When Josh Barnett tapped Dean Lister with this, Dean Lister didn't insta-tap. Dean Lister freaked out and was trying to move and was trying to push on the face, and that's going to be the next counter we have here. Josh Barnett knew that he had it, all right, or he trusted that he had it. So he didn't switch to anything else, he just believed in the position. So when we get to here, and you believe in that position, you just hold, okay? And I just fold him up. Yeah, maybe he taps, maybe he doesn't. But usually what's gonna happen is they'll start pushing on me, they'll start bridging. And then for sure, he's gonna tap to the choke. Does that make sense? So if any of you know how to do arm triangle, we just switch. Very easy, because that's a common reaction. He's gonna start bridging, he's gonna start extending that arm. I just smack it across. Okay, so I hit him just under the elbow on the tricep, and I pass it through. My arm is already around his neck for the choke. Okay, and there's tons of different ways that we can finish arm triangle. All right, and they all work. They all work. If you have a favorite, this, lying down next to him, lying down or walking around, putting the knee on the belly, I don't care how you finish, they'll all work. Yeah, I have some favorites, but I can make all of them work. So when I'm in this position, just trust in the position. Yeah, and if I think I got it, just start going, look. I'm driving that rib into him. Some of you are kind of, you know, not actually putting any weight through him. Okay, and some of you are kind of leaving your elbow on the ground, and you see how comfortable he is. His neck's all straight. What I want to do is I want to fold him up to me, look, so that my rib drives in. And I hold. All right, and then he pushes. Push, 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 push. Yeah, I get him to push so hard that when I pass, his arm can go nowhere else but into the arm triangle. Okay, now if I was wearing a gi and he starts turning away, of course we have the Ezekiel. Okay, the arm in Ezekiel. But usually, once I get to here, I just stabilize the position, try and go anywhere. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then I finish the arm triangle however I want to finish the arm triangle. Okay, so what I'm trying to get across is don't worry too much. Believe in your position, hold it 30 seconds, you know. If he's not tapping, he's gonna give you something else, the simplest, most common. Poof, we pass and we go into our arm triangle, okay? Thank you very much. Let's go. This next position is the stuff of nightmares. No, seriously, I have real nightmares about this one because you must have seen someone have their arm snapped with this one in competition and training on YouTubes and whatnot. It's real powerful, okay? So you must go nice and slow. And for me, I'm quite inflexible when it comes to Americana, so this reel gives me nightmares. So once I get into my Kaiser position, all right, I'm able to dominate his hand, okay? And now there's things I can do where I like step on his wrist with my foot, and there's little arm bars against my hips. But usually what's gonna happen is he's gonna turn.
Oh, be careful, be careful.
And I'm very careful when I get to here, okay? Yeah, very careful. Because if you imagine right now, to finish this, I just pull up on his head. And look, I'm not even having to put any weight on him or anything here, and I lift his head 1 inch and that's a tap. Now, after the lift, I also have dragging my leg back. So you imagine how I can rip this arm off of Daniel, okay? I'll probably be tapping here. See, if I don't use the head, you see how I can get some leg? Yeah, you know, all you guys see this? I just draw my leg back. And all I'm doing is keeping this clamped. Take your hand out. Take your hand out. See the difference? So once it goes in, trap. And be very careful from this point, yeah? As soon as I start to trap this, I'm careful because I don't know how flexible my partner is. He might tap here. He might tap there, okay? He taps there. Now, if your partner's real inflexible, you're gonna go like this. So I'm gonna take his head one way and the leg the other way, okay? So, very, very simply, Kaiser, I see this dangling, look, I start to push it down, boom, catch. Once it's caught, I go with the neck, and I go with the legs. Now, if you do both super explosively, you will screw your partner. Okay, so I want you to go very close to this. Very, very slowly with this, not very close, very slowly with this, all right? If you're an absolute noob, beginner, Just practice the ones we've been doing, okay? If you're comfortable with your control, you're comfortable with the Americana, have a little play with the Americana, okay? This is gonna be the last one. All right, give it a go.